Hello, we'll continue with Julius Caesar. Now we're in Act 1, Scene 2, and in this scene, we're told enter Caesar, Antony for the course, Calphurnia, Portia, Decius, Cicero, Brutus, Cassius, Casca, Soothsayer, after them Marcellus and Flavius were commoners. So here Caesar has returned from his battle and they're going to hold victory games, a celebration in honor of Caesar's victory, and also it is the feast of Lupercal. So they're holding the victory games, and that's going to be held in a stadium. So we have Mark Antony, who's going to run the course. He's going to run the race around the stadium. Mark Antony is the right hand man. He's the most loyal and the most faithful, and he's devoted to Julius Caesar. So Antony is going to run the course. Then we have Calphurnia, who is Caesar's wife, Portia, who is Brutus's wife. Then we have Decius Cicero. Cicero is a senator. Brutus is also a nobleman. Cassius, Casca, and we have a soothsayer. Soothsayer is like a priest. One of the jobs of the priest in ancient Rome was to foretell the future. So we have a soothsayer, and after them we have Marcellus and Flavius and Commodus. So we have a whole set of people who are following Caesar into the stadium. Caesar says, Calphurnia. Caesar calls out to his wife Calphurnia. Casca, peace home, Caesar speaks. So Casca says, ask the people to become silent. When an emperor like Caesar speaks, everyone has to keep quiet. Peace home, peace in the crowd, let Caesar speak. Caesar, Calphurnia. Calphurnia answers, hear my lord. Caesar, stand you directly in Antonius's way when he doth run his course. Antonius. So Caesar asked Calphurnia to stand in the way, on the edge of the track, when Antony runs around the course, around the track. So then Caesar calls on Antony, calls him Antonius. Antony says, Caesar, my lord. So Caesar says, forget not in your speed, Antonius, to touch Calphurnia. For our elders say, the baron, touched in his holy chase, shake off the sterile curse. So Caesar gives Antony an instruction. He says to Antony, Antony, when you're running fast around the track, don't forget to touch Calphurnia, to grace Calphurnia's arm with your hand, because our elders say there is a saying among the ancestors of Rome that the baron means the women who are without child, who are not given birth. So the baron touched in his holy chase. When a barren woman is touched in the holy race which is held in the stadium on the feast of Lupercal, will shake off this sterile curse. They'll give birth to children. Sterile means that there's no life. And a barren woman, a woman's life is fulfilled when she gives birth. So Calphurnia's life will be fulfilled when she gives birth. Antony, I shall remember. When Caesar says, do this, it is performed. So Antony says, I shall remember. And he says, gives a general rule. When Caesar says, do this, it is performed. Caesar, set on and leave no ceremony out. So Caesar instructs the people following him, his entourage, to set on to the games, set on into the stadium, and let there be plenty of ceremonies. Senate. So there's a flourish of trumpets and musical instruments. In the crowd, in the throng of people, there's a soothsayer, there is a priest. And he calls and he says, Caesar. Caesar says, ha, who calls? So Casca, bid every noise be still, peace yet again. So again, Casca instructs the crowd to be quiet and he asks for silence. Caesar, who is it in the press that calls on me? I hear a tongue shriller than all the music, cries Caesar. Speak. Caesar is turned to hear. So Caesar asks, who is it in the press? Press is the group of people, the crowd. Who is it in the press that calls on me? Who calls my name? And he says, I hear a tongue shriller than all the music. The music is shrill. That is, the trumpets, the wind instruments that are playing on on the feast of Lupercal, they're all very shrill or high pitched. And the voice of the soothsayer is very high pitched. So he says, I hear a tongue shriller than all the music, cries Caesar. And he says, speak. Caesar is turned to hear. So you notice how he's referring to himself. He refers to himself by his name. He doesn't say, I am turned to here. He says, Caesar is turned to here. So when you have a ruler, when you have an emperor almost like Caesar, he will refer to himself in the third person. The third person is the name, right? He won't say I. I is the first person. He'll refer to himself in the third person. He'll say, we are turned to here, or he'll say, Caesar is turned to here. So Soothsayer says, beware the Ides of March. So Soothsayer asks Caesar to be careful on the Ides of March. The Ides of March are the 15th of March. So, Caesar, what man is that? Brutus, a soothsayer bids you beware the Ides of March. So Brutus says, soothsayer, this priest uh, asks you to be careful about the 15th of March. Caesar, set him before me. Let me see his face. So Caesar says, now bring him before me. Let me see his face. Cassius, fellow, come from the throng. So Cassius says to the soothsayer, come from among the crowd, come from among the crowd, stand in front of Caesar. The soothsayer comes forward. Look upon Caesar. And Cassius asks him to, look upon Caesar. Caesar, what sayest thou to me now? Speak once again. So Caesar asks him, what are you saying to me? Again, repeat what you have said. So the soothsayer, beware the Ides of March. So again the soothsayer repeats, uh, beware the 15th of March. So how does he do this? See, these priests in ancient times, they had many rituals. Just as there are still rituals in temples of today, they had many rituals in the temples of ancient Greece and ancient Rome. So in Rome, when the future had to be predicted, they would open the entrails of a bird, like a chicken or a hen. This hen or chicken or some other animal was sacrificed to the gods, and the gods would give the priest the power of foretelling the future. So the soothsayers performed all the necessary rituals and ceremonies, and he has found that Caesar's life is in great danger. It will be in great danger on the 15th of March. So he comes to warn Caesar about this imminent danger that is going to befall Caesar. But Caesar doesn't believe him because he's not superstitious. So Caesar is, he's a general, he's a soldier. He doesn't believe in things like omens. Omens are things which predict the future. Doesn't believe in things like omens and, foretellings, such things, predictions. So Caesar says he is a dreamer. Let us leave him. So he's a, he is only idealist. Let us leave him pass. All that Brutus, Senate, all but Brutus and Cassius exit. So all the entourage, the people following Caesar, go into the stadium except for Brutus and Cassius. So Cassius, will you go to see the order of the course? So Cassius asked Brutus, will you go to see how the games? Will you go to see, watch the events? Are you going to watch the track and field event which is going to take place in the stadium to celebrate the victory of Caesar and the feast of Lupercal? Brutus says, not I. Cassius, I pray you do. Brutus, I am not gamesome. I do lack some part of that quick spirit that is in Antony. So Brutus says, I am not, athletic. I'm not gamesome. I do lack some part of that quick spirit that is in Antony. So Antony is much more, is much, you know, is fuller of an, is more energetic than me. I lack that energy. Uh, so let me not hinder Cassius, your desires. So Brutus says, if you want to Cassius, if you desire to, you can go to watch the games. I'll leave you, says Brutus. Cassius, Brutus, I do observe you now of late. I have not from your eyes that gentleness and show of love as I was wont to have. You were too stubborn and too strange a hand over a friend that loves you. So Cassius says, Brutus, now I've been watching you, Brutus, in recently, and recently you've been distant, and once, not so long ago, you want to look upon me in a friendly way. Your eyes had a gentle look when they met me. I was used to that gentle, friendly look that uh, I used to have from you. But, and he says, nowadays, you're becoming too hard upon me, a friend that loves you. So Brutus says, Cassius, be not deceived. If I have veiled my look, I turn the trouble of my countenance merely upon myself. So Brutus says, Cassius, be not deceived. Do not be, do not be, do not be deceived. Uh, if I have veiled my look, I turn the trouble of my countenance merely upon my. So if I have hidden my friendliness, if I have, veiled, if I have covered my, if I don't greet you with that same friendliness I used to have with you, uh, my mind is troubled. So the mind being troubled, my countenance also looks troubled. It also looks distant. So when we are worried, that worry shows up on our face. We either, we look worried. So he says, I have something on my mind, and therefore I seem to be distant to you, but in reality, I am not. It's just that there's something on my mind. And he says, these are conceptions proper only to myself. So whatever I have in my mind, on my mind, it's only suitable to myself. These ideas are about something I have to do, something I have to, somewhere I have to be. All these things I have to do soon. They, those thoughts are suitable only to myself, which gives some soil perhaps to my behaviors. So because I'm worried, then I seem to be distant. So they give some ground for my distant looks to you. But let not therefore my good friends be grieved. And he says, if there are some good friends I have, so let them not be hurt. Among which number Cassius be you one. So among my good friends, he tells Cassius, you are one, right? Nor construe any further my neglect than that poor Brutus with himself at war forgets the show of love to other men. So he says, Brutus says to Cassius, I am at war with myself. I am undecided. I cannot, I'm trying to find a way to solve a problem. So I'm at war with myself. So, my friends, and like you, Cassius, should not read any more meaning into my distant behavior, into my neglect, that because I am worried, I do not show the same friendliness to you and others. Cassius, then Brutus, I have much mistook your passion, by means whereof this breast of mine has buried thoughts of great value, worthy cogitations. So Cassius says, I have much mistaken your looks and your feelings, and because you appeared distant, I have kept quiet. But in my mind, I have thoughts. I have worthy cogitation. Cogitation means when you turn things over in your mind. So I have thoughts of great value, and I have buried them in my breast. I kept them to myself, but I really want you to know what is on my mind. But because you were distant, I have kept quiet. Tell me, good Brutus, can you see your face? And Cassius asked Brutus, can you see your own face? Brutus, no, Cassius, for the eye sees not itself, but by reflection, by some other things. So Brutus says, I cannot see my face, just as I cannot see my own eye. I can see my own eye only by reflection. So Cassius says, it is just, that is correct, he says. And it is very much lamented, Brutus, that you have no such mirrors as will turn your hidden worthiness into your eye. So uh, Cassius says, it is very much lamented. It's a very sad thing, Brutus, that you do not have mirrors that turn your hidden worthiness into your eye. That you don't have people around you who point out how noble you are, how brave you are, okay, how honorable you are. You have no one, no friends to point out your hidden worthiness to your eye, that you might see your shadow. So you could, if only you could see how long and deep a shadow you cast upon Rome, then you would think of yourself more highly. I have heard where many of the best respected in Rome, except immortal Caesar, speaking of Brutus and groaning underneath this age's yoke, have wished the noble Brutus had his eyes. So Cassius tells Brutus that there are many of the most respected people in Rome, many of the best respected people in Rome, except for immortal Caesar. Except immortal Caesar, uh, uh, those respected people, they wish that Brutus could also see the problems that Rome is facing. That is, Rome is supposed to be groaning. Groaning means making a sad sound under the yoke. A yoke is something like a burden. So Rome is under a burden, it is groaning, and Caesar uh, is supposed to be causing this problem. And if Brutus were to realize his own worth, he would do something to remove the burden, the problems that Caesar is causing Rome. And according to Cassius, Brutus is second in importance only to immortal Caesar in Rome. So if Brutus were to take it into his mind to remove the yoke, to remove the burden that is on Rome because of Caesar, then the then the empire of Rome would be uh, better off. So Brutus, he realizes that Cassius is praising him. He realizes that Cassius is wants him to do something, and he is a bit cautious. And he says, "Into what dangers would you lead me, Cassius, that you would not have me seek into myself for that which is not in me?" So Brutus knows that when Cassius praises him like this, he wants Brutus to do something. And he says, he asks Cassius, all right, into what dangers would you lead me, Cassius? And that, you want me to do something, but I may not have it in me. I may not have the power to do what you want. So why are you flattering me, Cassius? Therefore, good Brutus, be prepared to hear, and since you know you cannot see yourself so well as by reflection, I, your glass, will modestly discover to yourself that of yourself which you yet know not of. So, Cassius says, Brutus, prepare to listen, and you cannot see your own worth, you cannot see yourself. So, I will be your glass, I will be your mirror, and I will discover your hidden worth, your hidden honor, your hidden courage, your hidden bravery that you yourself know not of. And be not jealous of me, gentle Brutus, were I a common laughter, or did see, or did use to stake, to tale with ordinary oaths, my lord, to every new protester. If you knew that I do fall on men and hug them hard and after them scandal them, or if you know that I profess myself in banqueting to all the rout, then hold me dangerous. So Cassius says, don't be um, chary of me, don't be wary of me, don't be cautious about me. If I were to be a common laughter, if people uh, laughed at me because I, in front of a person, I profess love to the person, I profess that person honorable, I said he was respectable, but behind his back, I, slander him. Uh, or if I were to profess you know, my friendship to everyone who I met, and because of such behavior, if I were a common laughter, or if I hugged and if I bowed low to every man I knew, and afterwards, stabbed them in the back, or if you knew that I banqueted, if I held lavish parties, dinner parties to everyone and anyone I met, if I were to be of such a character, then you should think me dangerous. But I'm not. So, you see, I want you to trust in me, and I want you to believe what I say about your hidden worth, your hidden, uh, you know, bravery, courage, which will enable Rome to shake off its burden.